Did you miss us? Fury FC is back, and we're continuing our summer Fury. It's Fury FC 64, Doe versus Moran. But first, we get started with a stacked prelims featuring a title fight live from Escapade 2001 in Houston, Texas. It's time for these fighters to unleash the Fury and welcome in. I'm Raheel Ramzanali, joined by the future champ Alex Morano and the black belt himself, Michael Alexander. And these prelims are going to be a lot of fun, Michael.
Yeah, again, the main card is delivered again for a main event, but these prelims I'm very, very excited about.
All right, let's stop talking about it and let's get on with it. Inside the cage is the best dressed man in MMA, Wayne LaGee.
At IMAGEN venues in Houston, Texas. This is Fury FC 64, Doe versus Moran. But first, please welcome to the cage for your opening undercard contest, Americo Garcia.
Americo Garcia, Michael, 1-2 record. Man, this is a good way to get us going with the flyweights. Hopefully this pace, the energy from them carries over throughout the entire night.
Yeah, I think they should start every card with the 125 guys. I think, you know, they're 100 miles an hour. They're always in good shape. And to think that at one time they were thinking about scrapping this as an industry. I mean, scrapping the 125 division, Alex.
Yeah, that was insane. That was pretty short-lived. Thankfully, it was really Brandon Moreno who kind of brought that weight class, you know, out from Henry Cejudo as well, had a big role in that. But not only these guys flyweights, but they're also young. This guy, 22, his opponent, 23. You know, no matter the weight class, if you get some young 20-year-olds, they're going to fight hard and fight fast. And you add a pretty lightweight, high-energy weight class, I mean, we're in for a very fast opening bout tonight.
And for Americo, it's in the amateur division, by the way, so we're going to be in the amateurs here for first 3 fights, so everyone that's home, we will be going with those rules. But he is coming off his first win against CJ Green via armbar. This kid has a smothering game, can take a punch. Can't wait to watch him. Let's meet his opponent.
Please welcome to the red corner, Brandon Taylor.
Brandon Taylor. If you can hear this crowd, they are excited to watch the hometown kid. Here's the cool thing about Brandon Taylor, and we've talked about it with other fighters coming from other sports. We've seen football, obviously we've seen wrestling. Brandon Taylor, former track athlete, ran for the University of Houston, also competed for the national team as well, and he is an explosive athlete, making his debut, his amateur debut, out of 4 ounces. It's going to be a lot of fun. This kid has it all.
Yeah, he's a good size for the weight class too. He's pretty tall, and most notably, he comes out of the 4-ounce fight team. 4 ounces, maybe Houston's longest standing MMA team. You see Daniel Pineda in his corner, Artinius Young as well. For those who don't know Chico, you know, he really helped kind of pave the way in like local professional MMA back in the day. It's always fun to see those guys cage side, and you know their fighters always bring the fury.
Yeah, my favorite thing about Brandon so far is the amount of fun he's having walking out into the cage. He looks loose, he looks like he's having a good time, he looks like this is right where he wants to be. You don't see any fear in his eyes like you do a lot of times going in that cage, so let's see what he's got.
He's competed at the highest level in terms of track, competed nationally as well, so he's familiar with all of that competition, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but let's go inside to Wayne LaGee.
Ladies and gentlemen, your opening contest, brought to you by Private Label, is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury Amateur Series Flyweight Division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This freestyle fighter stands 5 feet 4 inches tall, and he weighed in at 125 pounds. Fighting out of San Antonio, Texas, by way of Laredo, Texas. Today, he seeks his 2nd amateur victory. This is Americo Garcia. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. This mixed martial artist stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, and he weighed in at 125 pounds. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, today he makes his amateur debut. This is Brandon B.T. Taylor. Your referee in charge of the action, Patrick Patlon.
All right, here we go. We have ourselves a fight. Americo in the blue gloves, red for Brandon Taylor.
And guys, if you notice right off the bat, I guess these people are here to see Brandon Taylor, but this place is full already. This place is almost packed to capacity in fight number 1. So good to see here at Escapade 2001.
So many local guys on the card, of course. We do have a title fight coming your way in the amateur division as well. So fans already here. And that's what you get with Fury FC. Not only do you get great main cards, but you get great prelims as well.
You saw Taylor try to, he threw a really, good low kick in terms of technique, but he didn't really set it up. And his opponent actually lifted his leg up and tried to jab him through. Taylor's got some power. He's only thrown a few shots. And for those, that came up short, they were clean and they were fast. But I think he should use some feints, some fakes, and some, quick lead side shots to get a reaction to set up those bigger power shots.
Yeah, his hands are extremely quick. We noticed that right off the bat.
He just threw a question mark kick. And he's fighting from both stances, too. It can be hard to get a read on guys like that.
His coaching corner so high on this kid. He has everything, has the tools, great in training as well.
Good right hand there again from Brandon. And he did throw a jab behind that one. That's when, and I know it's scary to step in the fire, but that's if you can double that jab up and cover twice the distance. And that right hand will have a little more of a hammering effect. Slides out of range. These guys look smooth and not wasting any energy.
Yeah, so far Americo Garcia has not been able to land yet, but
for Americo, this is his 4th amateur fight, by the way. He lost to Joshua Van back in 2019.
No shame in that.
No, not at all. And it was a unanimous decision loss, but it went the distance, so that's good to see for Garcia. I think anybody that watches us on a weekly basis, they know our man crush on Joshua Van.
I'm shocked he's not on this card. It seems like he's on every one.
Yeah, so you saw Brandon going for that flying knee, and it was a well-thrown flying knee, but it allowed Americo to implement his game plan, which, as Raheel said, was very smother-based. And after seeing the physique of both guys, and especially the patience of Taylor, he looks like he's a hard guy to tie up and take down. And even with the takedown, I doubt he'll stay there very long. The guy looks super athletic, and just like his body language, his skill set, even dealing with this body lock, which is now just a single underhook, it seems like he knows exactly what to do to try to maintain that range and use that more explosive striking that he likes.
And he doesn't feel like he's a guy who's going to gas either.
No way, not with that track background.
Yeah.
He looks forward to conditioning days. He's used to it. All right, so we go to the 2nd round. A good feeling out round for both guys. Let's take a look at our highlights for round 1.
Yeah, definitely the more notable offense was from Brandon. He landed a good cross, landed some low kicks, and even the tie-up, he was throwing a flying knee, so he was going for the finish. I'd say that's a pretty clear Brandon Taylor round.
Yeah, and Americo Garcia was favoring that leg just a little bit as the bell rang, so we'll see how that affects him moving forward here.
This is why these amateurs get in there, especially on those debuts. You can talk about it in training, in between rounds, in between sparring, what you're going to do in the next drill or whatnot. But to do it in front of people, to take that feedback now, that's why you do it. And let's see how Brandon Taylor responds.
And the hardest thing to teach, in my opinion, is how to breathe whenever you're fighting. Because no matter how good a shape you're in, if you go in there and start holding your breath for exchanges, you're going to gas out pretty quick. So breathing, all those things. You got to see how your body's going to react to being punched, to being taken down, all those things. And Brandon Taylor's getting a good taste of it right now.
There's a good low kick there from Brandon.
Yeah, I think they may have recognized that wore on him a little bit in the first round and probably told him between rounds to keep working on that front leg.
And I know Brandon Taylor's coach, Daniel Pineda, he's got one of the most vicious calf kicks in the game. He fought a super high prospect Russian guy back in the day opened the fight up with a calf kick, dropped the guy. As soon as the guy got up, hit him with a left hook, knocked him out. 14-second KO was awesome. All because of that gnarly calf kick. I've had to ask him to not throw it when we spar because I was afraid he was going to break my leg. I'm not even kidding.
The pit bull.
Oh, yeah.
Daniel Pineda, one of the OGs in Houston MMA.
If not the Oest of G's. I mean, he's been in the mix a long time. First guy to get signed.
And here we go, Americo Garcia. You can see that leg is taking a little bit of a beating, a little discoloration there in the front, but he's standing really heavy on that front leg, Alex. He's got a really wide stance, so hasn't shortened that stance any yet to try to mitigate those leg kicks. But
and one thing Americo is doing is he's actually pressuring okay. He's really trying to keep his partner on the back foot. So, you know, it's are you willing to take that damage to your leg but maintain that, you know, octagon control, as they call it, that ring control. But ring control, pressure, it's not valuable if you're not throwing strikes behind it or using it to set up your takedowns. You're like allowing your shield to get hit, but there's no counter strike. There's no assault afterwards. And now, granted, much easier said than done. I mean, Brandon is lightning quick, and when he throws, he's throwing with bad intentions.
And as an amateur, as an amateur debut, I mean, his punches he's throwing are almost perfect form. And he's turning his hips over for those kicks. He's doing a great job fundamentally.
Yeah, and as Rahil was saying, you know, he competed at a very high level in track, and any athlete who's done high-level competition anywhere, they usually can take the martial arts really well. They're coachable. They understand the value of technique and consistency, and it looks like that's what we're getting here with Brandon Taylor. He's looking really sharp in his debut.
30 seconds left, round 2.
And Americo doesn't even look bad. It's just Taylor has an answer for every time Americo steps in. You know, Brandon's responding or evading. Good answers, good fight IQ, good decision-making under pressure.
Brandon Taylor is by far the biggest flyweight that I think we've seen in Fury. 10 seconds left.
Yeah, I would like to see a little bit more activity. They're you know, the last 10 seconds of the round, they've picked it up a little bit, but I'd like to see a little more activity out of both guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of sold that 125, you know, barn burner in here, and we got two guys in here that are, you know, kind of marching each other down and being very calculated with their punches.
Yeah, and you know, America, he did open up a little bit at the end of that second round and didn't have much success, but I think that's what he needs. I mean, I think he's down 2 rounds. He's definitely getting beat on that outside range. He needs to maintain that pressure and then throw some volume. You know, if you get cracked on the way in, at least you're trying.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you know, this is one of those fights you can see your opponent's not taking the bait for whatever you want him to do. You're going to have to take chances in here, especially being down 2 rounds to 1, we assume, or 2 rounds to none.
I mean, yeah, and then Americo, like I said, he doesn't look bad, but not looking bad is not the goal. You want to look good. You want to implement your strength. It's your game plan. It's hard to do, but I mean, it's got to be done. That's why it made it so much fun.
All right, final round of our opening prelim bout. There's that kick again from Taylor. Don't know if it connected that well, but it still made Garcia think a little bit.
Yeah, even when those leg kicks aren't connecting, it's making Garcia shift the weight to his back foot, which even if he throws a punch, it's not going to be very powerful coming off his back foot.
That was a good calf kick right there. And yeah, and then don't underestimate the value of damaging power with no shin guards. I mean, sometimes, you know, people training get really comfortable with all the pads, but pop those shin guards off and blast that shin bone into anything, and it's going to hurt.
You can already see Garcia now starting to adjust that front leg a little bit. He is playing a little bit with it, a little bit more, shifting it back.
Yeah, good eye, really. What it looks like he's doing is he's trying to angle his knee to the outside, trying to hit one of those planted checks, which, in my opinion, is the best solution to the calf. But, man, even that one, he threw the right hand, his weight was on that leg, and it just got twisted out of position.
I don't know if you guys can tell on the stream, but, man, that left leg is bright red now behind that calf and hamstring area for Garcia. Is starting to change a little bit.
Yeah, and you can see he's kind of trying to anticipate that leg kick and move that leg a little bit, which is making him square up. which, with a different opponent, perhaps that's going to set you up for a takedown. It's going to set you up for all kinds of things. You square your feet and kind of push your hips forward. You're kind of inviting that, but maybe that's what he wants. Maybe he wouldn't mind going to the mat here.
1:15 left, final round.
It can be challenging to throw successful low kicks if you're moving backwards. They say don't kick moving back. So, one strategy to try to counter a good low kicker is pressure. But if you cover too much distance too quick, you get caught planted on that foot and they throw that kick. That's the risk. One thing that I like that Brennan's doing is the moment his opponent comes in, he's actually throwing that no-switch left kick to the body. So, if Americo stays at range, he gets low kick. He comes in, he gets left kicked. It's a very challenging riddle.
Do you want to see Brandon open up his hands a little bit, see if he can connect a little, get some combos going here? Right now, unofficially, how do you guys have it scored?
I'd say 2-0 going 3-0 towards Brandon, only because he's been landing the more notable offense. Americo's trying, but he's not landing.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Americo's landed maybe more than 5 punches the whole time. He's throwing his punches and kicks from outside of the pocket, and it's not that he's not active. It's just not that he's not capable of reaching from that distance.
Yeah.
5 seconds left in this fight. We're going to see if we get a flurry to end, and that will do it. We're going to go to the scorecards.
And no, maybe not the most action-packed fight, but one very beneficial learning aspect for Brandon Taylor here is he can go an entire fight, go all 3 rounds, and literally take no damage to his face. I'm sure his right foot is going to be a little swollen and banged up tomorrow from all those low calf kicks. But there's a lot of value in knowing you can go the distance and literally go untouched.
Guys, did you know we have a new podcast with Fury Fighting Championship, Fury Unleashed Podcast, available right now wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get it. Check out this roster. We've got, of course, Eric Garcia, Richard Burmaster, Wayne Leger, as I like to call him, Wayne Leggett, and, of course, Diego Reyes, who's the underrated part of the cast. He is so good. I love it. Diego with the glasses tucked in on his shirt, looking nice. I love Diego.
Never Heal, and if you listen to episode 1, it's heavily sponsored by Hallerhead Whiskey.
Yes. There's a lot of drinking on that podcast. But if you want to learn more about the behind the scenes kind of matchmaking, then this is the podcast for you. And we spend a lot of time talking about nonsense as well, like we usually do before fights. So it's a great podcast. Check it out while we get the scorecards in, and Wayne's going to get that decision to you in just a second. But it's a great podcast. We took a listen this past week, and hopefully all 3 of us will be a guest on it at some point. Alex, you were the #1 requested guest. So,
hey, cool. Yeah, I'm honored. I can talk in May.
Then Michael, you got to get on there.
No, they don't want me.
No. Let's go inside to Wayne to see how the judges scored this.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of combat, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision brought to you by the Fury Unleashed Podcast. All 3 judges scored the fight 30-27, declaring your winner by unanimous decision, Brandon B.T. Taylor.
Congratulations to Brandon Taylor on his first amateur win, and hopefully a start to a promising career. Love to see that. I mean, he brought a crowd, man.
Yeah, he did. Americo Garcia looked a little shy that he didn't win that fight, but it's pretty clear to us from over here. Maybe he'll have a different opinion after he takes a look at the tape.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Plus, his legs are going to be beat up for sure. Yeah.
So just to update you on what we have for the prelims, we have 2 more amateur fights. You're going to see Josh Childs and Kevin Clark. We're going to the heavyweight amateurs. Love that. Then we have our welterweight title fight. And then we have 2 more on that card. We'll talk about a little bit, but let's meet our next fighter.
Please welcome to the blue corner, Josh Childs.
It's the rare amateur heavyweight fight, guys. Josh Childs, 0-1. Fighting out of Fitness Fight Factory, F3's own. He's competed in a lot of grappling tournaments, wrestled as well. And here's the best part. Thank you for your service. Josh Childs, former Marine. Served as a former Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine, right? But did serve, so really cool to see him now starting the next part of his career as a fighter.
Yeah, good for that, man. It's funny. You could have told me he was 19 years old, and I would have believed you. He looks young. He's a little shorter for heavyweight, but he is weighing in at 260, so he's just 5 pounds shy of the limit. And he's got some pretty long arms on him, longer reach than height on average. And we actually have a wrestling credentialed heavyweight amateur fight on our hands. Both guys prefer the wrestling style, so expect some big lifts and some big takedowns.
Yeah, and it's always funny as a shorter heavyweight, Mark Hunt was a shorter heavyweight, but had extreme knockout power. So you wonder with those overhands from those shorter guys, how effective they can be against the taller heavyweights.
Let's meet his opponent.
Please welcome to the red corner, Kevin Clark.
Kevin Clark, as you mentioned, Alex, great wrestling background. James, he's taken on some really good opponents as well from the wrestling side, so he can hold his own. And I mean, look, when you train at Metro Fight Club and the War Training Facility, you know you're going to have a tough dude on your hands.
Yeah, and then one thing I really like about Kevin Clark, he actually started training at War because he fought a heavyweight from War and was beaten pretty handily. And instead of, letting his pride get in the way and saying, no way I could beat him, he went to learn from him and join him. And now they have a pretty big roster of big amateur and pro heavyweights to work with. And that just goes to show he's willing to learn, he's willing to grow, and we'll see what kind of changes we see in the cage, and I know he's going to be looking for a win.
Our tale of the tape brought to you by MikeTheTruth.com. 2-3 record for Kevin Clark, 30 years old, 6'2", that big height advantage. But as you mentioned, he is 1 inch shy on the reach advantage. You can't see it on this graphic, but we have that. And he weighed in at 241. And Josh Childs, a 28-year-old, 5'11", has a 75-inch reach versus the 74-inch reach for Kevin Clark. Let's go inside to wait for our official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest brought to you by SheathUnderwear.com is scheduled for 3 rounds in the Fury Amateur Series Heavyweight Division. Introducing your first competitor, fighting out of the blue corner. This freestyle fighter stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, and he weighed in at 260 pounds. Fighting out of Staten Island, New York, today he seeks his first win as an amateur. This is Josh, the Problem Childs. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. This freestyle fighter stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, and he weighed in at 242 pounds. Fighting out of New Orleans, Louisiana, today he seeks amateur win number 3. This is Kevin Clark. Your referee in charge of the action, Jeff Rexroad.
Final instructions there. We have ourselves a fight here. Blue gloves for Childs and red for Clark.
Immediately you see Childs land there, looking very relaxed in there, and then shoots in for that takedown. A little bit high on the takedown, Alex, but doesn't have long reach right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Clark in the white shorts threw a really stiff, straight jab right before these guys collided.
I think that's what caused the shot.
Yeah, his coach called for an instantly, for an underhook, and he instantly looked for it. Childs did pummel back under, but Clark did a good job immediately addressing, the body lock fight that they're in right now.
Kevin Clark sent me a little bit of information about himself, and he's extremely proud of the blue belt jiu-jitsu he's got. I love it when people tell me like what belt they are. That's the first thing they usually tell me because I'm black belt Mike, so they immediately tell me, yeah, I'm a blue belt. And sometimes they accompany with, at any other school, I'd be a purple belt. But,
oh, of course,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Kevin now trying to push Josh Childs up against the cage, trying to pull those legs out from under him, but Josh proving to be maybe a little bit heavier than Kevin anticipated.
Yeah, he's pretty compact too. I mean, that's a lot of weight to lift in a small surface area.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing, Alex. He's got his feet in the crease up against the cage. He's got his knee up against the cage. Got his foot a little bit farther out now.
Nice, yeah, good little ankle pick there from Clark. And then Clark was on a double, big back take. Oh, this rear naked choke is locked. And he rolls, and there's the tap. Oh, no, and he's looking to do some punches.
He's tapping him with his fist.
He'll tap soon. I mean, this is deep.
This is very deep. Kevin Clark
onto the chin, palm to palm.
Oh, man.
A few seconds left, and we get a tap.
Oh, that's it. There it is. Kevin Clark gets the tap, and his second win as an amateur. It was only a matter of time, Alex. That got deep. And I know we were talking about the face punch tap, but that was just too deep to get out of.
Oh man, so it was awesome. You know, Clark was in on that double, not a little stuffed, ended up transitioning off that, that low ankle pick. And then the moment Childs tried to scramble, Clark was on his back fast. You don't see heavyweights transition that fast. Was on his back, sunk the choke in, and it was just a few seconds until he got that finish.
Look at that cut there on Josh Childs' face. Where did he connect on that one? Was that on the...
I think that may have been on the ground and pound before he locked up the choke. Yeah. He did land a few punches in there from his back before he put the hooks in and before he took the back. But Kevin Clark showing off that blue belt, able to get that rear naked choke finish. You see this? You'll see here, and just right there. And then Kevin Clark jumps on that, gets those hooks in. I thought we were going to see a little Mike Murphy there and see a bunch of damage while he was on his back, but
that choke was deep. That's a big strong man crank on your neck.
And a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt.
Let's go inside to make this official.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jeff Rexroth calls for a stop to the action. 2 minutes, 8 seconds into the very first round. Declaring your winner by tap out due to a rear naked choke, Kevin Clark.
Congratulations to Kevin Clark. By the way, this is his third win as an amateur, so I apologize to the Kevin Clark fan base out there. Third win, he moves to 500 now as an amateur, just wrapped up his 6th fight, so good to see that for the New Orleans native, which, by the way, we're heading to New Orleans, end of the month. We'll talk about that in a second. Right now, let's go inside to Wayne to meet the next fighter.
Please welcome to the blue corner, Oscar Martinez.
All right, you guys want a title fight? Because I want a title fight. There's something special about that. So let's get a title fight going. Oscar Martinez making his way to compete for the Fury FC welterweight amateur title.
Yeah, this is a big step up in competition for him. Martinez has done very well for himself. I know he is going up a weight class. He has fought at 155 in his amateur career, but he's not rushing anything. He's stayed as an amateur for a while. He's got a lot of experience, and he's got his hands full in Morelli, but I do know Martinez has some pretty good grappling. He knows his opponent's a really good wrestler, a really good grappler, so there's a good chance we'll see a lot of cage work, a lot of wrestling in this fight.
Yeah, and a lot of times, Alex, these title fights usually means a little bit more to these guys than just another title fight because, as an amateur, you're trying to decide when to go pro. If you have a dominant performance as an amateur in a title fight, it's probably time to go to the next level and take your first pro fight. But sometimes they'll defend it once before they do it. So this is a big turn in each of these guys' career as amateurs.
Let's go inside to Wayne to meet his opponent.
Please welcome to the red corner, Gino Morelli.
Gino Morelli, 2-0, making his way to the cage. Last time we saw him, he beat Chris Tobar at MC 54 for the 155 amateur title. You see Crew Bob in his corner, fighting out of Main Street.
Yeah, also you see Jeff Messina. He's a long time just practitioner of martial arts in Houston, and I've heard Morelli's work ethic very high. I've heard he's a very gifted athlete, and I was actually surprised surprised he didn't get a finish in his last fight. I think after that fight, you know, he's worked on some different things, and I'd like to see him be a little more aggressive when he's in these finishing potential positions.
Former Penn State wrestler Gino Morelli has that pedigree, has that work ethic.
Guy's an athlete for sure. I mean, he looks like a strong, you know, cliche jock in a good way. Like Michael Chandler, he is a jock, and it's nothing but a great compliment.
Our tail of the tape brought to you by MikeTheTruth.com for this welterweight championship fight. The 28-year-old Gino Morelli, 5'9", equal on the height there, weighing at 169.2. And let's go inside to Wayne for our championship introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest, brought to you by Space City Collective, is scheduled for 5 rounds in the Fury Amateur Series welterweight division. It is for the Fury Amateur Series welterweight championship. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. This freestyle fighter stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, and he weighed in at 171 pounds. Fighting out of San Antonio, Texas, he holds an amateur record of 3 wins, no losses. This is Oscar Martinez. And introducing his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. This mixed martial artist stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, and he weighed in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of DuPuis, Pennsylvania, he holds an amateur record of 2 wins, no losses. This is Gino Morelli. And now your referee, Patrick Petlon, with the final championship instructions.
We went over the rules in the back so you know what's expected of you. I want a good, clean fight. Protect yourselves at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Touch gloves. To your corner.
All right, fine. Final instructions. Blue gloves for Oscar Martinez. Red for Gino Morelli. Championship time. Yes, we have ourselves a fight.
Yeah, and Gino Morelli may be the happiest tail of the tape picture I've ever seen.
He's not fighting like he's happy.
No.
No, but you can see the athletic difference between the guys. And no knock on Martinez. I know he has fought at 55. But these guys look like they're in a different weight class. Big, quick takedown there from Morelli. He's almost already in full mount.
Morelli has that 155 belt as well, and working up in weight now. It'll be interesting to see where he settles in weight-wise for his professional career.
Yeah, I mean, he looks healthy here at 170. I'd be curious to see how much weight he cut, but I mean, he looks strong. He doesn't look undersized. I know he's not the tallest welterweight, but I mean, he's got the muscle mass behind it. And one thing about Martinez, I think they planned on a tough first round, maybe a tough first couple rounds. But I think the longer this fight goes, the better chance Martinez has to try to implement some of his skills. I'd be curious if he chose to go up weight class, or if, you know, with this record, they offered him a jump up. But this is a tough fight for him. He did a good job. Martinez worked his way back up to his feet. There's a little bit of back exposure. You see that half Nelson just crushing down the posture, giving Morelli back control.
Martinez hasn't fought since 2019. He had a fight at our last card, which was canceled, against Arturo Tenguma. So good to see Oscar making his way back into the cage with that 3-0 record.
Oscar's doing all the right things. Oh, this is deep. This is under the chin.
Oh, yeah. That was quick.
Very
Congratulations.
quick finish there.
Woo! Gino Morelli makes quick work of Oscar Martinez, and he knew what he wanted right away, Michael.
Yeah, he wanted to get this fight to the ground, and it looked like he wanted the back. You know, he was able to secure that pretty easy. Once he got back there, Martinez had a really hard time shaking him and wasn't able to do so. And Gino Morelli gets that rear naked choke sink in, and with those big python arms, not going to get out of that.
Yeah, that was a really tough matchup for Oscar Martinez. You know, he also went up a weight class. I know for a fact he's fought at 155. And you know, just props to him for taking this challenge. And Morelli still had to show up and you know, hit his takedowns, hit his back control, and get this finish. Touch gloves to a high kick. Gets that body lock, just a pretty classic body lock dump. Saw Martinez when kind of grabbed his head, that exposes the back. Morelli kind of rode the back out, sunk the choke in, was able to get a pretty easy finish.
Do you think he practiced that glove touch kick?
I don't know,
that footwork looked really sharp. Let's go inside to Wade to get our champion crown.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Patrick Petlon calls for a stop to the action. 1 minute, 51 seconds into the very first round, declaring a winner by tap out due to a rear naked choke, and your new Fury Amateur Series welterweight champion, Gino Morelli.
Congratulations to Gino Morelli. Man, nice way to get this card going.
That's what we're going to do right now before our next fight. We're going to take about 10 minutes. I want everybody pull out your phone.
Summer of Fury. Nobody believed us. We had 3 in a row. We had a week off finally. But after tonight, we're back on the road. Fury FC 65. We're heading to New Orleans. Nolans 626. You can get your tickets right now at furyfc.tv. And then, if that's not enough, you're like, what? You're just going to Louisiana? That's right next to you guys. Well, Fury Fighting Championship is heading to California for Fury FC 66, July 8th. You can get your tickets right now at furyfc.tv. Fury makes its debut in California. Man, what a summer. So here's what we're going to do now. For everyone that's watching, we're going to take about a 10-minute break. Don't leave the stream. The stream is going to be on. We're not changing streams or anything. So just keep it rolling. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for the rest of our prelims for Fury FC 64.